Well, we're just off the main trail at the Bay Shore Preserve, what I call Johns Creek Estuary, and we're on the other side of the park. I brought Rosie out today to show her what I had found yesterday.
It's beautiful down here.
It is, and it's sunny. It's even warmer. It's 38 degrees today. It was 33 when I was out here yesterday morning. We're looking at another estate auction tonight, which we'll do. And as we get closer to tax season, I'll get Rose to talk about our small business taxes because, she has such sage advice as turning to me and saying things like, if you spent less, we'd have more money.
Well, our bill for that month would be lower.
Yeah, that was your actual comment. So we'll break it here and we'll find another spot on the path. We can still see our breath, but Rose is equipped. I see you've got your gloves, you got your earmuff, and you're probably wearing your two-piece base layer.
Of course.
She'll continue wearing that probably till June. It's more efficient, I think, probably to wear the two-piece than the Ridge Runner or Union suit, the one-piece.
Yep.
Especially since the facilities here are a little bit basic. But behind us is part of Hammersley Inlet, which rolls on into Shelton. And I wanted to show this all to Rose because I was impressed by it yesterday. And what it's been, about 8 months since I started making YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. And as she's noticed, whenever I see something interesting, exciting, something that catches my eye, maybe a glitch on eBay or something that I think is important to a reseller or just something interesting, I've begun to pick up my camera and roll film these days.
He likes to share.
And this morning before we headed out, it's got to be about noon now, we were supposed to have waffles, but what happened?
My waffle maker didn't come on.
Didn't come on, so that's probably the seed to do a new video on parts and repair, about whether to harvest parts. We'll talk about faulty small appliances. And we're also going to be looking at tax season, because that was the other thing you were doing this morning, collecting your paperwork or continuing to collect your paperwork for taxes. How's it going? You got all your forms?
I finally do. Now I just have to print different forms that the office didn't have.
Oh, because we go by the federal office and you picked up your 1040 book?
Yep.
You still like a paper copy, don't you?
I definitely do. I highlight things. I like to use all of the different... I'm a paper person. I like to have it in front of me to do all the calculations on the different things they have us.
But they no longer stock all the needed individual forms,
No.
but you get those online, right? You last year I
Stock
remember...
up on paper, copy paper.
Copy paper, tax season, you need copy paper.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, which we tend to get ours from Costco if it doesn't come in from an estate auction or someplace like that. Yeah, the neighbor was saying that during salmon season, they bring the school kids down here to Johns Creek. And there you can see where the creek dumps into the estuary again. Yeah, he said he has an adjacent 1/4 acre and this is his backyard. They put trails through it and then they keep people off of the actual beach areas and the estuaries where the wetlands are. But in the shade here, winter's like that. In fact, I know there's a seating area up the trail a little bit, and we'll get you to talk some more about taxes, one of your favorite winter topics. Now, having been out here yesterday and realizing that the benches do not clear of ice and water, I had Rosie bring a towel, because when hiking with Rosie, comfort is important. You gonna get closer to me? 2026, mid-January. That, of course, means tax season and tax preparations. What have you been doing so far?
I got all the paperwork together. I've been organized more so this year than in past, so I feel like I've got a better handle on it. And I've actually formed a notebook to document all the different prices and stuff that we've laid out for different expenses for the business.
Cost of goods and overhead costs?
Not to mention house expenses too, because since we use our home as our base, there's a certain percentage we can write off for that. And so I always try to maintain all those costs and be able to take advantage of that option, being a home run small business.
Yeah, some of the expenses are completely business owned, meaning they only exist because of the business, and others are shared, such as telephones and smartphones. What are some of the others? Electricity. We don't have a mortgage, but
Water, dues.
community dues, right?
Yeah. And the water bill from the community, because they have a community well.
The cost of our additional storage over at Agate, that's another
Right.
one. A vehicle operation, that's always a big expense.
Right. We claim the per mile price, and that's a good amount because he does travel to and from different auctions, and it can cost.
Oh, you don't travel to and from auctions?
I try not to. I do.
Yeah.
I don't leave him usually to fend for himself and do all the lifting, but we do it together.
Now the bulk of the sourcing costs, of course, are written off by the business. When are the next state taxes due for the business and operating?
Oh, those are due in February.
In February.
So I need to get those done real soon.
So regardless of what state you're reselling out of or thinking about reselling out of, we'll show you a little bit about how Washington works, because it is an interesting state in that since there's no personal income tax, we end up having to pay other ways. And one of those ways is through our small business contribution to the general fund of Washington State. And even though that's shifted online, the process hasn't really changed much. They take a look at how much, it's based on how much you sell, right?
Right.
So there are some write-offs, just like there are with the federal taxes, but it's set up a little bit different. It has to do with whether your small business exceeds a ceiling, a
Yeah, there's a
threshold.
level. We don't have to usually pay, where our business is so small. We don't usually have to pay the state any money because they give us a credit for that. But that's also where I will pay in for all the sales tax on all the personal
Right, so we have to
items
file the form
stuff,
even though we don't
regardless.
typically
Regardless.
end up owing business and operating expenses. Yeah, yeah. Things we get from an auction come in different colors. You know, you've got your completely for inventory color. Then you've got the for us because we want to use it personally color. And then we've got the color where it's a business operating expense. If I buy packing materials at an auction, if I buy, say, a used printer, but its purpose is for the business, those are business expenses, and you have to treat them all differently.
Definitely. Definitely. And we have to accumulate all the costs because we have to pay the sales tax on both the items for the office and the items for personal use.
That's right, because with our tax certificate, we didn't pay when we picked them up. And that's the way our state allows it to happen. They want their money, but because you're a small business operator, you pay for those items, the tax on those items, you pay for them when you use them, when you take them out of inventory.
Right, but then you have to maintain all your costs so that you can take that and do your business and operating taxes once a year.
The
when you
state
actually
taxes.
state.
The
Yeah.
state taxes.
Right.
We don't have a state
Yeah.
income tax, though we have many, many other ways the state of Washington has figured out how to tax us.
And the Washington state taxes are supposed to be among the highest for the different states in the United States, from what I've been told.
And we attribute that to the fact that there's no state personal income tax. So we pay more, say, at the gas pump. We pay more when we register vehicles. Yeah, it just seems like if you hardly turn around, either your city, state, federal, your county is, especially the county, they're looking for tax revenue because they've got to have money for their operating expenses just as a small business does. And personally, I don't mind, never let me come across as, I don't mind paying my fair share of taxes. I don't care for the way the money is spent sometimes. When they take it from us, when they state it's for a specific purpose, but the money seems to get diverted and used for something else, that always bothers me. And you're always, your consistent example is
The lottery.
the lottery.
I only thought it was a good idea because it would go to education, and I'm not sure what they do with the money, but our school system's always seems in need of more money.
Looking for
And-
additional. We're long since the years where we had children in school. We don't even have grandchildren in primary or high school anymore.
Nope.
Yeah. You've been collecting forms. You're ready to go. What are your expectations for this year? Do you think we're going to owe more? Are we going to owe less? Have we been spending more on sourcing?
I'm not sure yet because I haven't really put together the numbers, but I do pay now quarterly so that we don't owe a high amount and get penalized for owing a high amount. And you used to, and not paying in until you filed, and then you paid all at once, and there was no penalty no matter how much you owed. And I would have to write out some whopping checks.
But you were always
now,
in favor of you keeping the money.
oh yes, if it
instead
goes
of
in my
letting-
bank, I'm getting the interest. And now the government has figured out they want the interest, so now I have to pay quarterly. Otherwise, I not only have to pay at the end, I get penalized
There
a
is a
percent.
potential of a penalty.
Oh, if you owe so much, it's not a
Right,
potential.
right.
It's
But
a
I'm saying is,
requirement.
the system isn't set up to make you pay quarterly.
No.
The system is set up so that if your withholding estimate is off, you will pay a penalty.
Oh yes.
Right. So the penalty is definitely there, but it's incurred because of the way money is collected and taxes are withheld.
Right. And in the long run, it's really going to cost you more if you don't pay ahead of time, so that you owe too much, because they want their penalty. They want all the tax, and from taxes you're going to owe, and there's interest on that you're
Yeah,
going to pay
interest.
them because you didn't pay it ahead of time, so they could get interest. So
And interest was one of our morning topic conversations. You were looking at some of that paperwork, and you told me that this place doubles as a dog park, so Rose has met several four-legged friends
I love
today.
them.
Yeah. Reminds you of when you had pups, huh?
Yeah.
So this morning, interest was a topic of conversation over coffee. So compounded interest collected over time, put away, can exceed the value of the principal that you put away to start collecting that interest.
Definitely. And the company I used to work for, they gave everybody 10% when I first started with them
For retirement.
for retirement. And then they went through a recession and they pulled it back to 4%. They gave us automatically 4%, saying that as soon as times got better, they would reinstate the 10%. And they did, with a caveat. If you wanted to get matched 10%, you had to put away the additional 6% to raise from their 4% to the top of the 10% mark they match. It's the smartest move to do.
Seemed like free money, didn't it?
It did. And all these girls at work, they were young. I understand that. And I know they wanted that paycheck. But I kept telling them, do it now and get that extra money. Otherwise, you're giving it right back to the company. But some took advantage and some didn't.
And these were the same young girls that wanted to know who was doing your hair and putting those lovely silver streaks to get that two-tone look in.
They did.
Yeah, they didn't understand that that was earned. Like interest, that is earned.
Oh, yes.
Life doesn't give you those things. You have to earn them. But yeah, so we were talking about interest and how the more you can put away at a younger age, the better off you will be in retirement. And since this is a channel about both reselling and retirement, that's our advice. No matter how tight times are, no matter how hard it is and how hard pressed you are, every dime, every dollar you can put away early will collect interest along the way. And eventually you'll need that money in old age because the economy here doesn't seem to, in America in general, doesn't seem to appreciate senior citizens as part of the workforce much.
And the other real fact is costs for everything are up. So if you don't put away now, you will struggle when you get older. I mean, we're not rich by any means, but
We're not rich by any standard.
no, but I don't, we live a very modest life, and
Always
it's
have.
enough
Yeah.
for what our needs are, and we squeeze out enough to take time to go on a little vacation sometimes, like we did with Key West, and did it kill my bank account? Yeah.
I remember when we were young and first got together, and Tanya was a small thing, and I mean you were budgeted down to the dollar typically for payday to payday. And even then, as especially after I joined the Navy, every time I would get a promotion or a pay raise, we kept our standard of living constant, and that was some of that additional money
Right.
you put away. So some of that money's been put away 50 years now?
I would do a percentage, and I taught the girls too, even when they got gifts and stuff. Put a little bit away, and then when you are a teenager, you've got a little bit extra money.
That's right. I remember back when we used to clear storage units regularly, you had this jar. I think it was actually given out by a casino.
Was.
And it was like a coin drop bank, a ceramic bank. And I think we had a second one that said vacation fund. But all the change we would find from storage units went into those. And when they got, I don't know, 3/4 full or so, we'd take it into the Navy Federal Credit Union, and they had one of those coin sorters. And we could drop it in there, and of course it would kick out all the washers and all the really odd coins and the Canadian dimes. But the rest of it would swirl around until it flushed through, and it counted it. And it was tied directly to the credit union accounts. And you would rotate through the grandchildren. Now initially that was the 2 granddaughters, eventually it was the 3 grandchildren. But each time the deposit was made, because you had opened up an account for each of them.
Right.
And that way they were life members of our credit union. See, this is an alarming, informing fire truck going by, or an ambulance. But
ambulance.
Ambulance going by. We're back up near the road again. So in turn, each of their accounts would benefit from the side money we made from clearing change out of storage units. And sometimes it was a pretty fair amount, because people will store, junk drawers and little containers and small piggy banks of their own. And all that money simply went through the swirly machine at the credit union. And of course, eventually the credit union removed the machine, and we had to shift over the last few years. We did storage units to going into the grocery stores. And what was it, gift cards? What was the way you...
Oh yeah, if you actually got a gift card, you didn't have to pay a percentage of the sorting fee.
Yeah, otherwise they charged you a percentage.
Right. So I'd get a movie ticket, and then I'd take the girls to the theater, and we'd have popcorn and stuff, and use it that way as entertainment budget.
So it wasn't as good as the free service at the credit union, but it's still out there. And sometimes those change jars can really add up. But we're not saying put away pennies and dimes, but we are saying put away as much as you can. And then let's see, what are the next big tax event? When will you actually start working on taxes, now that you have all the paperwork?
Well, now that I have the 1040 booklet, and I've got the updated rules for what is required, I can actually start next week.
Next week. So I will lose sight of this woman for hours on end, and if I interrupt her, I'll get the hand. I'll get the hand. Because my accountant over here does not like to be disturbed when she's figuring out the VIG on the accounts or having to pay Uncle Sam. Tax season. Tax season will detract from some of the reselling that goes on. But let's face it, in the winter, especially in January, reselling takes a dip anyway. The Christmas Q4 sales are over. We're turning our attention to doing some cleanup, getting ready for spring. Brandy, our other daughter, will be ordering seed catalogs. Yep, you're already thinking about, you picked up some pots for plants the other day, and you'll probably be digging in the dirt before long. You'll be able to shed your base layer. Come June, you'll be able to shed your base layer, take off your headband, put away your gloves, and you'll start thinking about spring and renewal.
The man runs hot, so he teases me endlessly about being cold.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. 11 months of the year, I wear a fleece, if anything.
Yes.
Yeah, and the big guys don't have a tendency to need as many layers. Yeah, Rose said this was a 74-acre piece of land, and I was on none of these trails yesterday. The gentleman who lives next door said that we'll sometimes see eagles up in these trees. And that reminded Rose of when we lived up in Seebeck, and all the young eagles used to come to where Lone Rock would dump into the Puget Sound, and we'd have all the young eagles there and all the photographers with their big cameras. But it's quite an eclectic piece of 74-acre property. Pastures, trees. They're replanting oaks because there was a native oak here. But yeah, we'll continue to enjoy the day. So what do you think of the view?
It's okay. I don't care for it any more than I like our place, lake.
Ah, yeah. This one, of course, is tidal. Rose just saw a fish jump. Could you tell what type it was?
No.
No, but he was right next to an Irish setter, and the Irish setter was watching.
He tried. He
tried.
turned a little too late.
He was a little slow to catch the fish in this particular estuary. But the water gets pretty deep pretty fast here. We can see it as we look down at the gravel bar we're standing on. And of course, this all goes underwater. So it's nice that we're able to enjoy this and go out. Have you liked the little park so far?
It's beautiful. It's wonderful to walk.
It's funny, we've been here a couple years now, and we drive by this probably several times a week and had not a clue that this little pocket park, 74 acres, existed between us and town.
You glad you brought me?
Oh, you're welcome. Like I say, sharing is one of the things this camera has made possible. As we went back through some of the photo albums from when we were first married, and we look at the quality of those Polaroid films and those shots, and they're off-centered, they're out of focus. We don't have not a clue what we were actually trying to photograph, but yeah, it's come a long way to be able to carry around this smartphone and have it do so much of the business and record so many things. And of course, this is not a day we're really engaged in the business.
Gotta have days off.
Yeah, it's a nice day. And of course, 2 back-to-back sunny days in the summer. Very nice.
Summer?
Oh, two back-to-back days in the winter. Very pleasant to be out.
And we're gonna get 2 more, supposedly. And then next Sunday, a week from tomorrow, it's supposed to snow.
Yeah, which would be the first snow of the year for us.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty mild winter so far. Well, let's go see some more of the park.
Okay.
Now that little cluster of houses over there, when Rose and I first came to the area house hunting, we looked at one of the properties in that little group. But we thought in the end it was a little too close to the road. Access was a little bit congested with all the summer families, and it wasn't right on the water side. It had an easement but wasn't right there. And by then Rose had decided we wanted waterfront. But it is interesting that this walk out to the point puts us right across from an opportunity we did not take. Well, we've enjoyed our day in the park. Hopefully you enjoyed following along.
Hello.
This is Rose.
Goodbye.
I'm Brian.
74 acres.
74 acres. And one of the questions I asked yesterday was, I wonder who donated the land. What did you learn?
It's a Capital Land Trust.
Capital Trust. We were just talking to the neighbor, somebody who has a house on the edge of it. So today I wanted to share my experience from yesterday and show Rose around the park here. It's her first trip. And take her out and show her what I found at the end here. And we'll get away from this road noise as we keep filming. But it's the middle of January, second sunny day in a row, and it was warmer because we started out later this morning. So it was 38 degrees as we started out today, which is warming. It's a warming trend. This is Brian. We're not at the lake. We're down at the Johns Creek estuary, and we're going to walk around, maybe do a little filming. Maybe I'll get Rose to talk pre-taxes, because she spent part of this morning beginning to gather or continuing to gather paperwork for upcoming tax season.
Beautiful crystallization formed down to hold on to the branch.
So ice on the branch, huh? Yeah, we just passed a big patch of frost, and it's got to be at least noon.